Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome to my solo top commentary. There's not a lot of stuff on YouTube to like that discusses a lot of the higher level solo top strategies, so I thought I might just do a video as reference. One thing I want to note, by the way, on my setup here, I'm not actually wearing a Myth Cape or Oath Helm or Echo Boots. These are just transmog, so I'm actually still wearing an Infernal Cape, a Torva Helm, and Prims. I just kind of think it looks sick how these items go along with the Radiant Oath Plate. So anyway, I drop my potions so I can empty my Ring of Shadows. I summon a Thrall. I do my normal Elder Mauls. And one thing I like to do is I like to take an off-prey Venge. I think that's probably going to give you more value than just camping Rancor for a little longer. I SPS to Def Charge. You want to be SPSing to Def Charge and using it around 85% at Maiden. So you can so it comes back just in time for 50s and 30s. Not much to discuss here. You just have to do a three-way with Oath Plate. I've seen some people bring Rallos, but I don't really like it that much. When you get a spawn like this, 1-2, the best you can do is just freeze the 1 and scythe the 2 as it goes into Maiden. You want to be standing next to Maiden so that when you get dragged to hit the crap, you also get one hit splat on Maiden like that. I unfortunately didn't get both of my def charges on the craps because I didn't kill them fully. That's not always possible depending on spawn, but if you do, I would have had 50% spec now, which means I get a claw already for the second set of craps, which is really nice. Anyway, so I changed back to Arceus so I can def charge again, and I end up getting the exact same spawn, so I just freeze the first one, stand next to Maiden, and scythe the other crab. By the way, you see me doing a three-way with Sang. That's gonna drain your mage level, but it's not really a big deal since I'm pre-potting a Minified Remedy. And I'm actually not harding until 30s, just so my hard's gonna last throughout the entirety of Bloat without me having to re-hard again. Just saves a little time of not AFKing before Nylos, but yeah, just a small detail. Yeah, so now I'm gonna be switching back to Arceus, but I get my Venge out first. By the way, small advantage of switching to Sang is you can also do that with a Rancor. But you don't want to be doing it right before crap spawn because then you might be drained for freezing. So here, unfortunately, I get a little bit confused by the by being on such low HP that I forget to freeze. It's actually not a big deal at all. You can just scythe the first crap once. It goes in with less HP, and it's honestly around the same value as barraging even if you hit big because you only waste time siphoning the crap once and not like barraging it once and siphoning it several times. So it actually worked out kind of okay. Normally I would have hearted around here so it would last throughout the entirety of Bloat, but since I already switched to Ancients and I want to let that shit run out, I decided to just heart after Maiden so that I could AFK and let it run out then. Chance it here on 20 HP by not Locator Orbing, but that's fine. Now I decide to not chance it and Locator Orb for health. By the way, if Maiden gets you down to 10 or 11 HP, it's a little better to use Rock Cake because it damages you for less than the Locator Orb. And when you're on 12 and 13 HP and you can react fast enough, you actually want to Rock Cake twice for the same reason. So yeah, I end up just AFKing here for a second, and then I go into Bloat with Arceus. Alright, so I'm entering Bloat here. I pre-hearted. I also pre-super combat. You can already do this before entering the room because the room is not going to last for 5 minutes. I drop all my potions so I can empty my shadow, and I enter on this tick where Bloat is 2 tiles in. Kind of the same thing you would do in Duo, I think. You can do 3 pre-fire shadows like that. Also switch to Arceus so I can Thrall. I actually could have done that at an attack before, but it's fine. And then I enter when Bloat is like 3 tiles before the corner, similar to what you would do in Duo. And I attack first tick. It's not really something I can exploit here because I don't have a Chally in this setup. I stopped running Chally for like my chill runs, just because it's really easy to get a 5 down even without a Chally. And the only reason you'd ever bring a Chally really is if you want to go for 4 down potential, which is probably something I'm going to have to be doing in the future. But if you're just running for money or for fun and you get all of your hits in, you really don't need a Chally. By the way, when I was for that first down, I dodged a stomp. I did that so I could tank a couple flies while shadowing from both sides, so I can actually 5-tick my shadow and get a few more hits in. That's something I like to do for the first down if it's possible. So anyway, I like try to keep my camera at an angle that I can always see Bloat. And I switch to light bearer after every down. The way I do it is I wait for my light bearer to regen 10 spec and then I switch back to altar. I think it works out to the same percentage as just camping light bearer. Now with the changes that make it so that light bearer spec kind of gets kept when you switch to altar, but not the other way around. And also I use it as a cue. So once I spec 10% regen, I stop shadowing because I don't want to be shadowing when he's about to go down, because that can make me lose out on a scythe. End up having pretty decent damage now. And you gotta be careful when he's below 40% because he's gonna change his run speed when you hit him, and it's possible for your shadow to hit a 0 because you actually hit a 1 but it gets rounded down to 0 because he's walking. If you have in-game sounds on, you will hear him get hits, and if you look closely you can see like not getting splash particles, so it's something you can react to, but you want to be mindful of that. So as always, I get 6 hits in. I put up Redemption here just in case, because I wasn't sure if I was going to get Flight twice. Since I'm going to drop my 2-dose restore anyway, it's something I can do without like losing out on supplies. And my hearts... Actually, normally my heart would run out here, so I just stop shadowing, but you don't really have to shadow for the last down since it can possibly extend his down by a couple ticks. And if it's low enough, if Bloat is low enough to be killed anyway, you don't really have to get that extra chip damage in from shadow. So I get a 5 down here. It's very average. I think you get a 5 down about 80 to 90% of the time if you just get all your hits in and have thralls, regardless of Chally or not. So I pick up all my stuff back and I get ready for Nylo. And something I bring here too is the blue salve, which gives you a little extra magic damage and accuracy. I think it's 2 or maybe 1 max hit extra over just the Colt. And you can, for a year, you've been able to just uncharge them now and get all your NMZ points back. Right, so I got lucky at the chest. 13 points is the max roll. And I buy always 1 Cerebrew and a restore and a prayer pot for Nylo. Then here it's kind of complicated for the Ring of Shadow. So what I do is I drop my search pot since I'm not going to need it, my rock cake, and 1 super combat potion. And then these I just leave outside the room. I'm not going to eat them inside Nylo's. Then on a different pile, I drop my range pod and my super combat pod so I can uncharge my Ring of Shadow and pre-switch to Ancients. Then I put my runes back in. Then I pick my stuff back up and I pre-pot. What I do is I always speed up back to full HP and then go in. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. Kayla Maxa, who's a really good soloer, he just goes in and blood barrages his first barrage to get his health back, but I prefer ice barraging, so I do this. And I just want to say that Nylo is a really complicated room that probably deserves a video of its own. I'm just gonna do my best, like giving an overview of the general rotation that I'm doing here. Uh, it's very situational, and there's a lot of room for like choice. But anyway, I'll do my best shot. And actually, I play kind of badly here in the beginning and at the end, so I'm gonna point out what I'm doing wrong. So I enter on room tick 0. I instantly drop my potion so I can uncharge my ring. I pre-fire 1. I pre-fire 2 with T-bow. That's standard. And then after the 2, you have like a little wiggle room, a few ticks where you don't have to move. So I uncharge my ring. I pre-fire my 3, and I do my barrage. If you've never SBS before, it's actually pretty similar to just doing the room normally. All you like, the biggest difference really is that you just do your barrage, and then after your barrage, you instantly left click your spellbook swap again, so you go back to Ancients. And as soon as I see my XP drop, I know I can switch to Blowpipe, and I pre-fire the 5, and then the 4, and I do my dins here on this tick. The idea of this dins is it's supposed to make wave 1 to 10-0 stall. Unfortunately, I took so many hits on the 5 that I already stalled here, but yeah, that's the idea. And you also get your spec already regening. Normally you would be clawing the 7 melee here, but since I'm already a little behind, I just blowpipe the 8 instead. And the main idea is just to really blowpipe new stuff. And if you can't blowpipe new stuff, you want to sang new stuff. Alright, so here at 10 is a point where you're pretty much going to stall no matter what. So you kind of want to take advantage of it and like really focus the split 11s here. So all I do is just kill the big, so I have more splits, kill the aggro 10s, and now I'm focusing my attention to just killing the split 11s. I see a nice barrage clump here, so I go for it. I somehow misclick my spellbook swap, so I actually probably lose a cycle here because I spent some time AFKing. I try to catch both barrages if I'm in time. If I'm not in time, you can only catch the barrage of the aggro and then just sang the aggro. I let the melees live here, so I can let them clump up here in the middle and do my dins. I do a couple blowpipes before the dins so that those rangers don't get nulled. I hit the 14, and now is kind of an important time. You would like normally expect to kill this 14 fast, right? Because it's an aggro, but actually you want to let it live for a little bit. And the reason for that being is if you just kill it now, you're going to increase your stall here, and you're going to have like nothing to kill between like 17 and 19. And I want this guy splits to spawn a little later. 15 and 16 is kind of critical. As soon as 15 spawns, you want to ignore all of the old waves. So basically now I just want to hit stuff with a number 15 on it. And if it has a number 14 on it, that's probably a waste of ticks because we're going to play for their expiry. So you can see me prioritizing the 15 ranges first. I prioritize the range first just because I can kill it fastest, so I can get 16 in. And then when 16 spawns, or right before 16 spawns, I turn my attention to the 14 big and I kill it. So the goal here now is that before 19, I want to kill everything with a 16 on it, because that is usually going to survive until the 19 cap, and I don't want to be stalling before then. So right now I just kill both 18s, and you can see this is also why I delayed my 14 to live until now, because if I kill it before, I would have nothing to kill now. That blowpipe on that 15 is kind of unnecessary, and now I just wait for my 19. When you sang it, you don't want to be standing right next to the gates, because otherwise the splits come out too early and you're going to stall. And after sanging it, I kill like 2 rangers normally if I can, and then kill the 19. Now I pre-fire the 20. If it doesn't die, you want to scythe it. Now you can usually do like 1 or 2 sangs before the barrage spawns. And here I unfortunately stall for an extra time, so that's going to make my dins on this wave a little more inefficient. And I also get run in by the 19 explosion, but It's fine. I see a big barrage clump, so I do it there for health. I also manually click my dim key on my keyboard so that I can see the new Nylos after I do my 22 dins. With plugin presets, I like set up a thing that I can click, so it would instantly start a 52 tick counter. I click that as soon as I see these 24 spawn, just in case one of them survives, so I can know when they're going to explode and when I have to walk away. So basically, when this timer here gets close to 52, I have to run away from these Nylos. I pre-fire the 24 aggro, I scythe this one, and then I do my dins kind of like in the middle or on this side to catch all of these new melees and kill both of the big aggros. If one of these aggros survived, I would not have bothered killing them. I would have just looked at my tick timer here to see when I need to move away from them. Now I see I have nothing new I can pipe. You don't want to be killing bigs that aren't aggro. And this 26 here has already been nulled, so I just decided to just go for these old ones. Do my scythe there because I notice I can hit multiple Nylos at once. I pre-fire that aggro, go for the 27. Accidentally kill the 25, that wasn't good. And one nice thing you can do when you have 28 and 29 come in like shortly one after another, I just run south here and let them clump up and barrage them all at once. And here I'm making kind of a mistake. I should probably just be piping, but I was kind of being on a Nylo tilt and just wanted to not die this time. And you can see me staying on this gray line for the most part. The reason being, if you stand on these tiles, you automatically dodge all of the explosions that can happen in the Nylo room. So usually I camp that line towards the end. And here I make a big mistake. So my waves end kind of early. As you can see, 31 spawned and the 26 and 27 big are still in there. This might sound good that my ends are ending early, but the problem is now like I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bigs that are gonna explode with splits, and my Nyloer is gonna display them all as split 32s, and I can't clean all of them up. So what I should have done is after pre-firing the 30 and the 31 here, 30 and 30 mage and 30 range here, I should have like dimmed right now, so that these split 32s would be dimmed, and I would only have to focus like 4 or 6 new Nylos, so I would have made cleanup a little earlier. I actually lose about 10 seconds here because of that, because here I'm just like, okay, there's too many splits. I'm not even going to play for cleanup. I'm just going to play for expiration. And that ended up costing me probably around 10 seconds. On the bright side, I didn't use any food though. Alright, and how Nylo boss works is you want to be stepping under at the correct time. So you only take 1 attack for every 2 attacks you do. The queue I use is the following. I wait for the Nylo boss to move, and then I can click him. And then I only click under him a tick before I can attack again, because if I step under immediately, the boss would just move around and make stuff more complicated. So yeah, I basically just do this procedure for the entire fight. The max hit of the Nylo King is 17, except on melee phase. He can't hit through melee prey. And the boss is pretty boring. I just do my 2-1 pattern here. As soon as I see the boss move, I know I can attack for the first time, and then I step under right before my attack cooldown, and I just repeat that forever. If I get hit below 17, I'm gonna activate my locator orb like that, so I can get back up to HP. I could have also equipped my P-neck in this case, since it survived. Oh, there I misclicked my piety. Activate retribution, actually get chanced. And not much to say about the Nylo boss, really. And I killed the Nylo boss. The boss was around 252, which is a little bit above average. But, yeah, still ends up being a good room time. Uh, kind of slow for, like, sub 38 standards, but it's not too bad. It's not horrible. Okay, so for Sod, what I do is I menu entry swap my spellbook. So both shift click and left click are Arceus because I don't ever want to be switching to Ancients now. I make sure I have my rock cake, enough prayer potions, and my runes. I go in. I do a pre-fire. I summon a thrall. And I do a hammer. And since I'm an SBS, I also want to be taking off Prey Venges because they're probably worth most on Sot. He has pretty high defense, so I take one there. Decide to not take a second one because the cooldown's not there yet. Take the second one now. And you always want to be camping melee distance if you're at 23 HP or above, because his max of melee is 22. And not much to say, except for, yeah, of course, you want to be search potting. Historically, you would always basically Lightbearer camp for part of this fight. But ever since the search pot, you don't have to do that anymore. And you never really want a Lightbearer camp with Rancor and Oathplate because your max it's going to be 47 only, which is quite bad compared to 48. Okay, also something I want to mention here is I'm attacking on like the exact same tick he does his animation, like as he does his animation. And when you're attacking on this tick, you can actually get an extra scythe in before doing the green ball tick eat. You don't like have to do that scythe if you're not comfortable, but it can save a couple seconds. Okay, so maze is about to start. One thing I want to look out for before the maze is that I'm at least 3 HP. That way I can sweet immediately as I get teleported and not get chance but a chip damage. You may have noticed I dropped my soul runes there. That's just so I have a thing to red X on for my rock cake stall. I don't think there's much stuff that explains rock caking. So basically in the underworld you immediately want to sweet, so you're not in chance range. Then I equip my hammer, and it already enables spec. Also take off my gloves, and I check for when the chip damage hits me. If I'm halfway across the maze, and then I get chip damage, like here, I know I'm not going to get it again. So I just orb down to 1 HP to save some time, put up Redemption, click the Soul Rune, and guzzle the Rock Cake. I have my left click option to guzzle. If you don't guzzle, it's not going to work. That way I can do the Rock Cake kind of fast without losing too much time. You want to do 1 hammer per phase. So if I had missed here, I would have done another hammer. You want to remember picking up the Rock Cake. And in essence, that's Bloat. Your Thrall's going to run out a few times during the Sot fight, so the way you get your Arceus back is after you click to attack him, you step back, immediately click him, and in the same tick click Spellbook Swap. That way you can switch back to Arceus without chancing a melee and without losing ticks. So one thing I do here now is, since I have a lot of prayer doses left, since I'm going to be dropping all of this for Xarpus, because I remember that I got enough points from my first chest that I can full buy here no matter what. What I do is I usually flick my Redemption so I have a little extra HP and can camp melee distance a little longer. That has the advantage of, well, first of all, he's getting Venged. And second of all, the more he melees, the more he's going to delay a bomb, so I might have to tick eat less. And I actually use a sound cue for... Actually, I don't think you can hear it. But I use a sound cue here. As soon as I hear like the mage attack do its sound, I can click Redemption. So that's something I like to do because I generally really like sound cues because it's pretty hard to mess them up. So it ends up meleeing me immediately, so I can't camp melee distance for too long. Um, so yeah, I just stay here. I would have redemptioned again if it put me on very low HP for the mace, but it put me on 3 HP, so that's fine. As like above 3 HP, I mean. And my suite luckily heals me to 3, so I don't have to redemption or anything or chance the mace. I also switched to light bearer so I can get back to 100 a little sooner. But I only do that on like the very last few hits when it's like less than 35%. Because I don't want to be camping light bearer for too long. So what happened here, by the way, is exact same thing, but I noticed that I get hit too early on. So because I got my chip damage early on, I eat again because I know it's going to hit me again before I exit the maze. So I end up losing a few ticks because I have to orb here again and then click the soul rune, but you know, it's just something you have to look out for. I made a small mistake here by equipping my ultra like that. I should just camp light bearer until the next hammer. Do the same thing where I step back, click on him, and click SBS same tech. And that is Sod in essence. Oathblade really helps with Sod times. I think the average has gone down from probably something like 530 to like 515. So that's really nice. Might be even lower than that, to be honest. And I end up getting a decent time here in Sod as well. End up getting a like 513, yeah. It's pretty nice. And sub 20 entry is something you really want to see if you're going for like sub 38, sub 30, sub 39. If you have brew doses left over from Nyloer, you want to be sipping that brew too while your divine is still running, just so you can have a little extra HP for Xarpus. Yeah, I end up dropping my P-neck because I have enough points. And in this setup, that's the max amount of prayer you can have. You're going to have 8 prayer potions. 95% of the time, that's going to be enough for Xarpus and Zik if you're not making mistakes, but can be kind of close sometimes. I drop 4 potions, and then I drop my soul runes so I can equip my hammer. Okay, so there's a nice trick I found for exhumes. On screen, you can see my like the times of when you have to step off the exhumed, or the earliest tick you can step off the exhumed. And luckily, you don't really have to memorize anything. You can just look at the first number, which is 10.2, and then if you look at below, it says 17.4, 24.6. All you really have to look at is the first number after the decimal. It always only goes up by 2. So here on the first one, I step off at 10.2. I actually click early, so it leaks one more, but scratch that. Now for this one, since it was just at 10.2, I see 17.4, so I can click off here at the earliest point. And here I look for 0.6. It says 24.6, so I can click off. Now I look for 0.8. 0.8, so I click off, and really nice method of not having to count ticks or count anything, and just do the room of no brain. 0.0, so I click off, and now I click off at 0.2, and so on. Your Xarpus exhumed spawns can be scuffed, similar to Maiden's craps, and when they're scuffed, they're just going to appear and disappear a tick later, so you just have to adjust to that if that happens, but thankfully it's pretty noticeable. Okay, so I summon my Thrall right before he wakes up. I do my hammer, click Arceus, and I do my movement like this, and I spec pot immediately. You don't want to be leper camping Xarpus at all. That's something you would do like pre-Yama, but now with Oath, you don't really want to be doing that. So I just click my search pot immediately, and I just wait until I get my third hammer back. So this cycle, this backtiling cycle, is a lot easier than most people make it out to be. All you really want to do is go back. You have 3 ticks after the first attack, like this. 1, 2, 3 ticks. Then you have 2 ticks. 1, 2. And then you have 1 tick, so I click under. And then you rack on the 4th. And it just continues like that. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. 1, so I just step under. And then rack. I do tend to camp rancor until my 3rd hammer. Not necessary though. I actually switched to Blood Fury here because I knew my pace was kind of good, so I didn't want to use up too much prayer and like make it close. And then when my hammer comes back here, I just hammer on the 3rd cycle. Technically, it's better to hammer just as soon as your hammer comes back, but I would just prefer doing it on the 3rd cycle for convenience. You want to be moving around the room like that. It's pretty natural to do when you're really comfortable with backtiling. And you want to be moving around like that just in case one side gets racked too much. But here my south side's actually pretty still pretty clean, so I just go back there. And I keep doing my normal cycle. Not really much is happening at Xarpus, just fun to execute. And as you can see, I go to the left, I go to the right, I just take up any clean spot I can still find. And something I do at Xarp that I should probably discuss, when I see that my prayer is about to run out, I hover my prayer potion so I can get my prayer back up immediately, like here. Like here, for instance. Because that way my piety might still be on for my quick prayers. And if you're fast enough, you're never actually going to lose piety hits. So it's screeched. And one thing I use as a cue, like here, if I want to get in 2-2-1-2-1 cycle, I do my attack here. I do my 2 attacks. And after my 2nd attack, it takes 1 tick for him to turn like that. When that happens, I know I'm on the 3rd 2 of 2-2-1-2-1. So now it's easy to stay into cycle. This board here is really clean, by the way. That's not something that's insanely rare. I think it happens probably around 1 out of 3 Xarpus for me. But yeah, it's nice when your board is that clean because then you can just camp rancor and don't really have to use much prayer going around the room like that. I end up hitting like 375s in a row, which is kind of nice. And yeah. One thing that's nice about the spec potion is I get, after my 3rd hammer, I actually get a claw back for this phase. Usually I use my claw here, once again on the 3rd 2 of 2-2-1-2-1, because it sets me back to doing 2 hits here again, on the 2nd 2 of 2-2-1-2-1. So Xarpus is about to die here. I, for some reason, do no damage. And I'm too lazy to move here, so I just chance it and get killed as he gets killed, but it's no biggie. And I have a 25-27 entry. That's pretty fast for me. I usually get around 26, and 25-27, that's kind of the entry you want for sub 38 or better. Essentially, if you get sub 26, I think that just means you basically didn't get fucked by RNG anywhere in the rate too much at this point. So all that's left to do is do a fast Verzik. So for Verzik, I drop all my, like, enough prayer potions so I can empty my ring of shadow. I like to drop it on these tiles here, like next to my crap tile. This is just so I can red X on it for Lunar SBS for P2. Then I drop one more potion so I can equip my scythe. Swap to Arceus, of course, so I can summon a melee thrall. Summon my melee thrall, go right back on Arceus and start the fight. What I like to do is I do one spec immediately to regen spec. To start regening spec. I then do one scythe to tick fill, and then you can do 3 more Dawnbringers like that, and you tick perfect back into 3-4 cycle. You want to spec pod as soon as you can. You're usually on a little bit of cooldown for a little bit from Xarpus. But yeah, I like having 2 doses of spec pod for this, so I can use one during P1 and then later one during P2. It's got a lot of value. Not much I can say about P1. Could just mention that times before the spec pod would be 251 at best, basically. That's like when you're at that's like the earliest point your last spec could kill. Now there's like a decent chance, I want to say like 20 to 30% that your P1 is going to be faster than that. And you, even if your P1 is slow, it's basically never going to be above 310 because you get another spec back a little sooner than normal. But yeah, all I really do here is that 3-4 cycles, so I'm going to skip ahead. One thing I could mention is that you do summon a thrall, like a second thrall for P1, and you just want to click your spellbook swap again as you hit Verzik. Right as you see the XP drop, just hit spellbook swap again, but nothing too complicated. Alright, so we're at the end of P1. I actually end up regening spec back, but on 0.9% I decide to just finish it with Scythe. I immediately summon a Mage Thrall so it can reach P2 immediately and go back to Arceus. I wait for my regen to do one cycle and then switch to Altar. And one thing I want to mention here, because most people don't do it like the right way. Most people like would pop the crap on this like east side here. That's actually gonna lose you an attack. It's better to run to this, to like run back, wait one tick, click Verzik and then click this green tile. Then run to dodge the cabbage and instantly pipe the purple crap. That's a little better. It saves one attack that the purple crap does on Verzik. And a nice thing that you want to build up a habit to. It's not really more difficult than going east, so I think more people should be doing it. I activate my Death Charge again. I activate it towards the end of P2, like the last 5 to 10% normally. And after my third attack, I walk Red X the Prayer Potion and swap to Arceus. I want to do it on the last one so I don't lose any ticks. Here I don't walk back, so you don't want to be doing an extra scythe like that if you don't walk back 2 tiles, because otherwise the explosion is going to hurt you. You may also notice that I'm doing a 4-way switch for my blowpipe, or 3-way. That's because the new Ove plate has such bad negative ranged offensive that it kind of feels necessary. It feels like you're hitting that purple crap 7 times if you don't do that. So it's kind of unfortunate. I try to camp Rancor for most of the fight, but I usually do switch back to Blood Fury at some point for a little bit of the fight, like here, just so I can make more of my prayer doses. It's not really necessary. I just like being safe and not run out of supplies. You lose around 2 damage per hit you do with Blood Fury versus Rancor. So probably not a huge deal if you only do it for a couple swings, but might add up over time. So here I see my thralls running out, so I do my red X again, switch to Arceus, and summon my thrall immediately again. Okay, now for red face, what I like to do is I equip Blood Fury for the craps since they have less HP, and then I just use Rancor on Verzik itself. You don't want to be hitting the red crap immediately, like down to 0 HP. You want to leave it with a little bit so you can 5-tick like that. That's actually a really huge time save and a reason a lot of beginners have really long P2s. You see me there uncharging my Sang after my last hit on Verzik. The reason for that is kind of subtle. It's that my Thrall stops attacking after I have an interface up like that, so it doesn't heal Verzik for like an extra like 2 or 3 HP every phase. It doesn't really matter, but it's just kind of neat. As you saw, I stopped attacking the crap there. When the crap is under 20% HP, it's not really worth to 5-tick on it anymore. You just want to be hitting Verzik instead. So there, that was my third attack, so I go to crap to 5-tick. And I click Sang again. And I always SBS back on my first swing on the red crap each phase. So here it's over 20%, so I do another swing. And then I just finish on Verzik. That was my third swing, so I go back on crap like that. I do a claw spec since I couldn't really regen to get 2 claw specs back for a skip. So I just decided to waste it early because I was on a cycle where I actually could do that with like getting an extra attack that way. And here I'm being a little like too cautious, siphoning the crap, kind of like as insurance. What I probably should have done is just stuck to Verzik and get her to try and go for a skip. I could have probably made it, but I just like being extra cautious. But yeah, I probably ended up losing 15 seconds because of that. Okay, I end up having a lot of prayer. If you have 2 prayer potions or more, that's probably enough for P3. After my very first swing, I like to switching to Arceus for a new Thrall if I haven't already. And I set up around here next to the western reptile. This is actually so I can pop the crap with a nice setup. So the way it works, I just stay in cycle. And I do my swing here, and as soon as I see my XP drop, I just click the southern reptile. And I automatically pop the crap like that. Okay, so when I have over 50% spec, I like keeping Verzik here and not moving further down. That way I can do like my last hit here. This hit here would normally chance melee, but since it's about to do webs, it doesn't. And it's gonna move to the web tile immediately, like very fast, because I kept it center. So what I do is I just move to this tile, claw, and I get to claw without losing ticks. I noticed that I left the prayer potion on the ground, so I'm gonna try and go for it now after weps. And yeah, if you pay close attention, you'll notice that I'm on the same cycle as if I just waited a tick. I start putting on Rancor because you want to be low HP for the green ball, so might as well be on equip Rancor if you're like 80 HP after Weps, or even 70. I try to eat 3 sweets after yellows. You don't want to be eating more than 3 because then you're going to be on attack cooldown. And something I do here, which is kind of important, so I want to stress this. If you're far away from Verzik like this and you can't hit her on the very first tick, you want to be shadow pre-firing her. This puts you on a nice cycle, because now I just do 1 swing and immediately step under and I'm in cycle again. This is also really nice because if you remember correctly, like previously I was doing 1 extra hit on Verzik before Weps. If you do this shadow pre-fire, you're going to be on cycle for that hit again. So now I just count attacks after yellows. I want to count 4 attacks. And orb myself down to 1 HP. And just take the green ball. You want to be hitting the locator orb 1 tick before the hit spot appears. If you're on the correct cycle, that's like right around this point when your scythe swings like that. You're not going to hear audio, but a nice audio cue I use here too. When your redemption goes off, it makes like this sound, like this weemp womp weemp womp. On the 3rd sound it does, or on the 2nd weemp that I just like made, you want to be clicking under. So let me just emphasize this again because it's a really nice trick I use. So it goes weemp womp weemp, and that's when I click under. This pattern here where you click to redemption is something you probably want to be practicing in entry mode. That's how I learned it. I just did it for a couple hours there, and then it was pretty solid. You only have to do it when you're 32 HP or less. Do the same crab pop I just did. And my thrall is about to run out, so I swapped Spellbook here on the last hit and summon another thrall that's going to be enough for the rest of the kill. Blood Fury was really generous again, so I already switched to Rancor, hoping for a yellow skip potentially, but damage isn't quite high enough for that, unfortunately. After 3 attacks, you want to do a claw scratch, so you tick fix, and right now you do your swing as Verzik would normally melee, but since it does a special, it just lets me have this extra claw scratch. If you're in enrage after yellows, the way you get back into Pog Tank is by waiting 2 ticks, so I count in my head 1, 2, and then you want to attack. And then you're back in Pog Tank cycle. But okay, I have insane damage, so you kill it before green ball. And ends up being a pretty fast Verzik. 12-13 is, I want to say, like sub 13 is the average now with Oath Plate. So yeah, 12-13 is still pretty fast. And ending up having a 37-40, which is pretty nice time. My Thrist sub 38. Going for a better PB now is going to be really 8s. I'd probably have to reset for 4 then or something. And we get rewarded with a purple, and it's actually a Sang. Pretty nice. And yeah, that's should cover about everything. If you have any questions about anything in particular, do let me know in the comments, and I'll try and respond to everything. And if I get a better PB in the future, and maybe if there's new tech, I might upload a similar video to this one. Alright, thanks for watching, and see you guys next time. Bye.